What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Hit the like button if you haven't already, comment and subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate you all coming back, share this out, do all the good stuff. If you guys haven't been to a Roster Bubble Series video before, I take a player that's on the cusp of being cut. I talk about their background, their competition, ways they could win a spot on the roster, ways they could lose a spot on the roster, and a prediction at the end. And today we're going to do Jalen Mills, safety, cornerback, overall defensive back, veteran in the NFL. So let's dig into his background. 6'0", 200 pounds, 30 years old, 7th round pick out of LSU by the Philadelphia Eagles that I would say worked out. Ended up being one of their starting corners for the last few years before he went to New England for a couple of seasons and then landed on the New York Football Giants. As far as his stats last year, let's take a look at them. With New England, 45 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 forced fumble, 17 games, 8 starts. In coverage, gave up a completion percentage of 60, no interceptions recorded, 1 touchdown allowed, 94.4 passer rating, and 3 quarterback pressures, and 40% of the snaps on defense, which was a bit of a shrinkage compared to the first 2 years where he played over 50%, specifically 90% in his first year with New England. And then 2022, he had 75% of the snaps on defense. Now, the reason to why this could be is because he was transitioning to more of a safety role rather than corner the first 2 years in New England. And he did have some struggles at safety, whether it was taking angles improperly, this, that, and the third, but he was still new to the position. But I got a couple of quotes here from Sports Illustrated to support my argument and a little bit of the background, of course. In 2021, Mills migrated to New England to begin 3 seasons with the Patriots. It was there he began accepting snaps at safety, splitting his reps between the box and free safety spots, and doing some work in the slot. Again, that was really more of 2023, but nonetheless. Mills played his career lowest 27 snaps at corner and then split 106 in the box, 136 in the slot, and 159 in the free safety hole. Along with his work in coverage, Mills did a great job against the run with an 84.1 Pro Football Focus grade. So who is he competing with? It's not too much of a stern competition if you think about it, because it is Javarius Owens and it is also Elijah Riley. Now, Javarius Owens, we didn't see him much last year. We saw him in the preseason, and that was pretty much it. He made the roster, but he was inactive for a majority of the games. Elijah Riley, he had special teams experience with the Steelers last year, some defense, and then played with the Jets a couple of years prior and the Eagles as well. But it's not a guarantee Elijah Riley makes the roster. We did do a rosterable series video on him already, if you haven't already checked that out. So Mills comes in as the established veteran, and you take a look at it this way before we go to the winning and the losing and how he can do those things, make the roster, not make the roster, all that sort of good stuff, is the Giants need a leader in the secondary. I'm going to give a list of every defensive back that's in the secondary for the New York Giants right now. Stanley Thomas Oliver, special teamer. Aaron Robinson, he's been injured the last few years. Elijah Riley, we just mentioned him. Jason Pinnock, 3-year vet. Andrew Phillips, draft pick. Javarius Owens, last year draft pick. Tyler Nubin, this year draft pick. We just talked about Jalen Mills, and we're going to continue talking about him. Nick McLeod. I think he was first drafted in, 20 or 21, so that's like 3-4 years under his belt. Nonetheless, you move on. David Long, same story as McLeod. Alex Johnson, UDFA out of UCLA. Darnay Holmes, draft pick in 20. Trey Herndon, vet, coming in the NFL 2018. You go beyond that, Caleb Hayes, Trey Hawkins, draft pick last year. Cordell Flott, draft pick in 22, draft pick in 22. Dane Belton, and draft pick in 23, Deonte Banks. So you look at that, and there's only 2 veterans, really, if you look at the list, right? You look at Jalen Mills, and you look at Trey Herndon. Now, I will say this. You could move Trey Herndon to the corner position, and it's very unclear what his role will be with the Giants because in my personal opinion, the Giants are in need of an outside corner. He's a slot corner. And the Giants have a shit ton of slot guys, including Jalen Mills if you want to consider him in that category. But if you look at the safety spot, McKinney left. Gone. Goodbye. Whatever that scenario may be. You got Pinnock. You got Dane Belton and an inexperienced Javarius Owens. The Giants need some sort of veteran leadership back there. And I think Jalen Mills could fit the bill because he's been on a Super Bowl winning team. He's been in the league since 2016. Again, I think his story is great the way he came into the NFL, 7th round pick, and played a majority of the snaps with the Eagles. Nonetheless, we move on. How can he win? Position versatility, leadership, health, run support, and coverage games. So I'll start with position versatility. Playing corner, I don't think that's part of his game anymore. He may not have the speed for it because he's 30 years old. But I think him playing in the slot, it depends what the Giants really do with that and how they envision him, because there's a lot of NFL receivers nowadays that are elite, like Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're moving into the slot, and you don't want Jalen Mills on Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That would be a recipe for disaster. Now, if you were to put him in the slot for run support on maybe first down or second down, then that's a recipe for success because he did a very good job with that with the New England Patriots. And the Giants do need, from their slot position, whoever it may be, Holmes, Flott, Hawkins, Trey Herndon, David Long, whoever may be the slot corner, they need some sort of run support. And knowing that Jalen Mills has gotten some burn at safety, that's position versatility, but he also has the instincts, because safety and linebacker, there's obviously that, I forget what they call it. It's a hybrid position. And I'm not saying he has the instincts of a linebacker, but he's been in the box before. So he kind of has those instincts compared to the guys who have already played slot corner and really don't have burnt safety or linebacker. And of course, Isaiah Simmons is going to get some burn in that position as well. But I think run support is definitely big. And not like Jalen Mills is going to play 100% of the snaps on defense, but he's a good help. And I think leadership will definitely be there. Health, he's got to be healthy. I think he's done a majority good job of being healthy over the last few years in his career. But position versatility and even playing well. Like, he cannot be getting burnt by bum 3 receivers that the Giants have, whether it's Chase Cota, Dennis Houston, Bryce Ford Wheaton. He can't be getting burned by those guys in training camp. It just can't happen. And he can't be taking the wrong angles. And one thing, right, which kind of goes off of the last thing I said, he can't be showing his lack of experience at safety. He's going to have to take the right angles. He's going to have to do the right things and read the right plays at the safety position because, again, the Giants need leadership at that position. They need experience at that position and versatility just generally in the defensive backfield. And if he's just sitting there, and he's showing, the inexperiences and making these stupid mistakes, then the Giants are a little bit in trouble in their defensive backfield and may have to look in free agency to go sign a guy at the veteran minimum. And you wouldn't want that. How can he lose? Injury, that's a key. Quiet training camp, I don't think that's going to hurt him as much, but you would like to see some production, whether it's a couple of tackles for a loss, a batted pass or two, good coverage instincts. Youth at the safety position, that's something we just talked about. Bad angles and tackling versus the run. In my opinion, his biggest knockoff to get him off the roster, if this is basically what he may do, and if he does that, I'm not saying he will, but he may do that if we're looking at the pessimistic side of things. If he does these things, he's not going to make the roster. Bad angles, we talked about that, and tackling versus the run. That is his X factor to get off of the roster and to hit the waiver wire if they still do that for 10-year vets essentially. But nonetheless, he will not be on the Giants roster if he does those things. And coverage. He's got to do good in coverage. I mean, he had a solid passer rating. He had a solid completion percentage last year. Ever since 2019, he's pretty much had a completion percentage in the 50s, which isn't bad. And the passer rating since 2020 only once over 100. You would like to get that down, but again, he's not going to be covering number one wide receivers. He's going to be covering 3 wide receivers and some tight ends and running backs. So I do have him make the roster because I think he's a quality asset for the Giants. It wasn't the sexiest signing at the time, but I think his defensive versatility and his leadership and his experience offers a lot to the Giants that they do not have on this roster. And for guys like Deonte Banks, for guys like Javarius Owens, for Jason Pinnock even, and Dane Belton, I think that does wonders for them if you want my honest opinion. And yeah, I have him making the roster. So hit the like button, folks. Subscribe, do all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate you all coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.